What the hell are you doing lurking behind doors? Scared the crap out of me. Anyway, now you're here, you might as well come in, have a look at the home arcade. Come on. Oh, you've got no legs. Sorry, I've got you. Welcome guys, welcome to the arcade. My little modest arcade space here. Thought I'd do one in the lighter hours so you can see things a bit better. It's a bit echoey in here. I need to get some more stuff on the walls, some posters, some other things to make the place look a bit more interesting. It's pretty bare at the moment, but I'm going to go over each cabinet when I got them and give you my honest thoughts about what I think about each, warts and all. I won't hold back, I'll give you the honest opinion. And then we'll look at each quickly and I'll show you what games are available on each as well. So to kick things off, we'll go with the Street Fighter 2 Legacy cabinet, this one, which was my first cabinet. And one of Arcade 1-Up's earlier ones. Great mix of games on this one. It really punches above its weight for the price I paid for it. I think it was about £250, £300 maybe, a few years ago now. So when it first came, these side bits you can see here were protruding. The control deck sits lower, so whenever you've got your hand on the joystick, it used to be really awkward resting on there. So what I did is raise the control panel up, just with some bits of, I think it was like foam I had left over from something. The trouble with that is it left a gap here. So I didn't have anything special to fill it with, or, you know, more of this panel here. So what I did is just got some wood and just painted it a nice shiny black. And I think for a little DIY job, it hides the little gap nicely. I'm happy with that. I've just stuck it on with some double-sided tape so I can take it off if I ever need to. And I think it just makes a nice finish. The only other thing I've done to this cabinet is just, even though it's got the riser there, I put some furniture risers on at the bottom there, you can see them, just to give it that little extra height, because I found that when I was stood here, and I'm about 5'9"-ish, I found that I couldn't see the top of the screen. It was kind of like cut off like that. It was really annoying. You don't want to be like squatting down. So I just raised it up a little bit. So if you're about 5'9", 5'10", it's perfect height. If you're a bit higher than that, then you might have to get some bigger risers. All my cabinets have risers. Ideally, I'd like cabinets without risers, but you know, that's what was available at the time. So, other things to mention, the controls are okay, they're not brilliant. You know, if you want to get some San Juans or something, much better. But I've got used to them, so it does the job. I've got no real complaints. One thing I will mention, and this goes for the other cabinets as well, like any with a normal joystick, and you know, the tops similar to this, the plastic, is when you're moving around, these little dust covers, because they're kind of like harsh, rigid plastic, eventually, you won't see much on this one, because I've not played on 2-player as much. If I show you on this one, look, you see that ring that's starting to appear? Because as you're moving the joystick, eventually it's going to wear down into the plastic. So what I've just done is a quick DIY job. I think it was some like felt or something. Just cut it around, acts as a little barrier just to protect the plastic, hopefully stop it from getting worse. Need to do the others, Mortal Kombat as well, and the MVSX, just to protect, because you can see it there, hopefully. Starting to wear down a little bit, a little faint white. So if you can get something to protect the tops, I'd recommend doing that. As for games on this one, let me just reset it. We'll have a quick look. So there's the full games list. As you can imagine, you're going to have a lot of Street Fighter titles. So you've got Street Fighter 2, Super, Super Turbo, Championship Edition, which I play the most. Street Fighter Turbo, Street Fighter the original. Now that's probably the weakest one. You might play it as a novelty, but I don't think many people will play that regularly. So half the games are all dedicated to Street Fighter. These two are probably my favourites. I'm just working on completing Championship Edition characters first. And then here's your nice little mix, which really elevates this cabinet, in my opinion, is you've got Final Fight, Classic, side-scrolling beat 'em up, Commando, nice run and gun shooter, good fun. Got videos of both of these on my channel. Ghosts and Goblins, really challenging side-scroller. Check out my video on that one. 1944, The Loop Master, fun little shmup. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the greatest one in the world, but it's pretty decent. Nice addition to the cabinet. Darkstalkers, another very interesting fighter. I need to spend more time on that and do a video on it soon. And Strider, nice, something a bit different, side-scrolling. The Mega Drive version is great, the arcade one's good as well. So all in all, really nice little mix. No complaints with the screen or anything else. I mean, this is a bit washed out. If you go for full perfection, I'd say you could replace that. But in the UK, it's a bit harder to get hold of things compared to America. So, I don't know, it does the job for me. I'm not going to complain too much. Same with the controls. They're not perfect, but they do a decent enough job and you get used to them. One last thing I've just thought of is the ball tops do tend to come loose as you're playing, or if you have this kind of joystick top. So just be aware of that. You might want to get some, I don't know if it's called thread ripper, some kind of glue which is strong enough to hold it but not permanent, so you can prise them off if you need to, but it stops them from, you know, coming off mid-fight, which I haven't done it yet, so it's slightly bit annoying when the ball top's unscrewing itself while you're fighting, but just something to bear in mind. Let's pop Street Fighter back on. Next cabinet, I believe it was the MVSX cabinet. Great selection of games on this one. I did try and mod it. There's a mod you can get, I forget the name, but you load some software onto a USB stick, stick it in the back, and it gives you even more games. But I found, I don't know if it's the software or the USB socket, half the time it doesn't work. Other people it's working fine, so it might just be my version of it. But even without modding it, the game's on here, great selection of Neo Geo fighters. I got the full one with the riser, just because, it'd just be too damn small if you didn't have the riser. You could have it as a bar top if you wanted to. Looks really neat, really nice looking. No complaints. So here's the list of games. Obviously it's fighter heavy, as you can imagine. So you've got the full King of Fighters series. King of Fighters 98 is a very popular one. If you just want a go-to one to go to straight away. Good selection, a few different changes between the games. Then you've got Metal Slug, 1, 2, 3, X. I don't know if X is kind of like a re-release of the original, but without the slowdown. Metal Slug 4, 5. You've got Samurai Showdown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a special as well. I haven't played half of those. Last Blade 1 and 2. Really nice looking games. Savage Rain, never played that. Kitsune Encounter, Sengoku, a few of those games. Shock Troopers, really nice game. If you like Commando, you'll like that. Magician Lord. There's several sports games on there. Quite a few football, soccer games, as the US guys say. Some of them are really fun actually. Top Players Golf, Freak Out Bout, Football Frenzy, and then you've got the Fatal Fury series, everything there you could possibly want. Garrow Mark of the Wolves, one of the classics. World Heroes series, haven't really played those. Art of Fighting, pretty difficult game. It hasn't got the second one on, just the first. Art of Fighting 3, I should say as well. And that's your full selection. In an ideal world, you'd have a few more shooters and things on here, but if you just, want pure fighting games, the Metal Slugs and that, it's really good. The controls, pretty decent. Again, you might want to change them up for some better quality ones. I find the sticks a bit loose for my liking, and I have found what I'm playing on most is starting to stick slightly sometimes, although I think it's got better since I've been playing it more. But that's something to bear in mind. The last thing I'll say, the screen is fine, no problems there. The speakers, they're mounted at the front. So what you'll find is, because obviously you're stood here playing, rather than the arcade one-up position where it's on the top coming down at you, it sounds a bit more tinny, a bit more muted because it's down here. I have looked into getting some kind of like, I don't know what you call them, some like almost a cups to go there like that to redirect the sound upwards a bit, bounce it up towards you. I'm just trying to figure out a way to get the right thing and attach it without making a complete mess of the front panel. But that's what I'd say, if you could redirect the sound a bit more up towards you, it would sound a lot better. Let's just put a random, let's put, yes, Samurai Showdown, let's stick that on. Classic Neo Geo intro there, gotta love it. Okay, so moving on. Next purchase was probably one of my favourite cabinets, if not my favourite cabinet in terms of whole package and how it looks, is the Atari Star Wars cabinet. I've done videos on this covering all 3 games. The first 2, love them, classic, timeless. Third one not so much, but it's got its place. This is one of the few ones where Arcade 1-Up put lit coin doors, which, especially in the dark, it looks really nice. Still got the riser, but all the artwork matches really nicely. The control panel looks cool. There's some upgrades you can get to this to get like 3D made like bits you can put either side of the screen. I don't know if you can see it there. There's kind of like a column. You can get 3D printed ones of those. Some people mod it like that, add a bit more interest. It's just, this cabinet is just unique. There's nothing else like it with this control scheme. It's just a bit more, something different. People are drawn to it. It's fun. The sound's cool. They did a really good job on the emulation. No complaints whatsoever. Let's just see what it looks like when you first boot up. So I'll just make a quick edit here. So here's what the cabinet looks like when you first boot it up. So you just got the selection of 3 games just to move between. Dead simple, so just go straight into each one like that. As I said, these 2, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, awesome. Love the vector graphics. Third one's a bit of a departure. Not my favourite, but I suppose they had to cover the games in this era, so it works. But yeah, great little cabinet. And it gets very loud when you boot in. Awesome little Star Wars graphic there. And then you're straight into the game. The screen's nice and vibrant, no problem whatsoever. This could be a bit better, I guess. It's a bit washed out, but again, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Overall, especially if you can get this on offer, it's a great little cabinet. It's just unique, and you might not play it every day, but when you do, you'll have a great time with it. It's a real talking piece. So moving on, my next pickup, I picked up 2 cabinets at once because it was a good offer for them. So you've got Mortal Kombat. I don't know what it's called in addition to that. It just says Midway Classic Arcade. And then you've got the Centipede cabinet. Let's move this Street Fighter stall out of the way so you can see. Unfortunately, these don't have the light up coin doors. You can just see how much, you can see the progression, can't you really? Legacy cabinet, just like a sticker painted on. And then we move on to, okay, we've got coin doors now, molded coin doors. And then we've got the combination between light up and molded, which is what this should all be like, really. So these two, I got them because they were really cheap, good offer. Not necessarily because, you know, they're my dream games. I much preferred Street Fighter in the arcade, but Mortal Kombat's iconic, you know, it belongs in an arcade and a lot of people enjoy it. And when I do spend the time to play it, I actually have some fun. Need to learn more moves. The thing I'll say about this one, the control deck, really nice, a nice slant to it, plenty of room, no issues with the side like there was on the Street Fighter cabinet. You got loads of room here, no problem whatsoever. Feels really nice on the hands. No need for a booster on the riser. It was already at a good height. You can see it's even higher than the Street Fighter cabinet, even though that's on the furniture risers. The one thing I did have to change, and this looks all right to me. Looks nice and bright. We'll come on to the Centipede one in a second, but this one again, nice and bright. I've got no complaints regarding that. What I will say, the problem that these two cabinets both had is that the default screen they came with was really washed out. It looked almost like whitish grey rather than black. So if you just went slightly off to the side, it looked really terrible. And again, not so bad up and down, but definitely left and right looked terrible. The same for this one. With the old screen in, the colours were muted, it was really faded. It might not show so much on here, but in person, the black on this looks black, pitch black. The colours pop. And that's because I replaced both of the screens. There's some tutorials online about doing it. There's some Dell monitors that swap in fine. I think Arcade 1-Up just went to a crappier monitor for some reason. I don't know if they were cost cutting, but they didn't use the BOE monitors. So swapped in two Dell monitors, colours pop now, blacks are black, great. So if you do get these, just be aware you probably have that issue. I got it cheap, so it wasn't a big issue for me to buy a couple of cheap monitors off eBay. I think they were like 50 quid each or something. And replace those. Not a big job as long as you follow the tutorial. It's pretty easy. So coming onto this cabinet, let's have a look at the game selection. So just bear with me 1 second here. So here's the game selection. So we've got Mortal Kombat 2, 3 and Ultimate. Mortal Kombat 2 is very hard. I need to spend a lot more time on these, but you know, great games, good fun. Paperboy, classic, old arcade game. Rampage, again, cool little game, especially in multiplayer. Root Beer Tapper, covered that on the channel recently, very addictive little game. Tubin. Tubin's pretty good. Little, you're going down a river on a little like inflatable. It's pretty funny. Wizard of War, never really played it. Can't tell you a whole lot about that, but we'll cover it one day. Bubbles, very addictive little game. You're kind of like in a sink. You're a bubble. You're avoiding enemies, trying to get crumbs and things out of the sink. Fun little game. Defender, classic, side-scrolling shooter. Again, Gauntlet, not got a whole lot of experience with it. I played a modern version of it, but never the old one, so I'm going to enjoy covering that one day. Joust, nice little game. Probably better in 2-player, I would imagine. Come on, camera, focus. Clax, I don't know, bit of a filler title to me, but it can be quite fun and addictive for a little play session. Little like puzzle game, tiles, rotating. And that's the selection. So as you'd imagine, mostly Mortal Kombat. Like with the Street Fighter cabinet, you've got these other titles for a bit of a variety. And they're all quite different. So it's a nice little mix. I've not got the internet connected up to this since I moved the cabinet, but you can get high scores on here as well. So you can compete for high scores against other people. This is a nice little incentive to play these. See if you can beat people online with your latest high score. Anything else to mention? I have found this left joystick, this might be because I went for a period where I wasn't playing the game so much. It started to stick when trying to do up and left, especially in a fighting game. It wouldn't register all the time. So it might improve with time, otherwise I might have to clean the joystick, put some grease back on it. And it's probably not a major issue, but just be aware, you know, you can get that sort of problem. So moving on. Centipede. And again, I mostly got this because not that I was desperate necessarily to play these games, but it was a good offer. It was cheap. It adds a bit of variety to the to my little arcade space. So you've got like the Star Wars one. You've got a very unique control system here. Same with this. You know, you've got the spinner, the trackball thing. It looks pretty decent. And although the games aren't the most complicated games in the world, they are pretty addictive. So if you just bear with me, we'll just have a look at the games selection. So for the game selection on the Centipede cabinet, obviously we have Centipede. We have Crystal Castles. Got the high scores loaded on this one. That's a fun little 3D isometric game. Gravitar, can't remember what that's like off the top of my head. I need to play a lot more of these. Same for Liberator. Lunar Lander, really simplistic looking, but really quite addictive. Just trying to land a little spaceship on the surface of the moon. It's definitely one of those one more go type of games. If we move down here to the second page. Major Havoc, interesting little game, combination between like a shooter and then you get out your spaceship, you go onto like a spaceship inside to collect something. Millipede, kind of, I think it's a follow-up to Centipede. Missile Command needs no introduction, classic game, and obviously it's got the right controller, perfect to use with it. Space Duel was probably one of my most played games on here, strangely enough. I'd never heard of it before, but if you like asteroids, it's kind of like asteroids, but with different geometric shapes like squares, diamonds. We'll cover it one day. It's a pretty addictive game to play to try and beat your high score. Super Breakout, another classic. Let's go on to page 3. Tempest. Really need to give some more time to Tempest. It's known as a, you know, a classic. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Again, not too familiar with that one. And then rounding off, you've got Asteroids, classic Asteroids, and Asteroids Deluxe. So you've got 3 kind of Asteroids-like games on here, so plenty if you like that sort of gameplay. So all in all, it's a pretty nice little cabinet. Would it be my go-to to hunt down? No, but it kind of covers that niche of older games with a unique control style. I've had no problems with these controls either. Plays perfectly fine. And other than the screen issue, I've had no complaints with it. So moving on, the final cabinet in our little arcade space is, and this is my latest pickup before Arcade World kind of dropped the ball with releasing new decent cabinets, is Ridge Racer. So I always loved Ridge Racer in the arcade, so when this came up and it was available in the UK, I had to grab it. It wasn't cheap, but for me it was an iconic game. A couple of issues I would say with this one is, obviously this is quite washed out, so in an ideal world you'd probably replace that for something better. In some ways this was one of the most flawed cabinets for me. One of the major issues is the sound. So you might have noticed I've got a cable in here. This is taking the sound out to a little speaker system. So I've got 2 satellite speakers and there's a little subwoofer inside. It's just a little cheap Logitech sound system, because the default speakers on this cabinet are crap. Rubbish, to be honest. It's very tinny, washed out, and if you've heard Ridge Racer in the arcade, it's thumping, it's loud, it's got bass. It's just not the same experience. So, and I think you have to use the sound out here rather than internally to get the proper bassy sound. I don't know what Arcade 1-Up were doing with this in terms of the sound, but they kind of dropped the ball. So it's a bit of an annoyance on that one. The pedals are serviceable, but they are plastic and they don't feel particularly strong. I've not had any issues with them, but they don't feel super solid. And, you know, with a lot of use, I won't be surprised if they did have some damage over time. Again, it's on a riser. Any other problems? I think the first 2 games on here, we'll cover the games in a second, but Ridge Racer 1 and 2, there is some resistance on the wheel. You know, it will snap back, but it does feel a bit loosey-goosey when you're driving. I don't know if maybe the arcade, I can't remember if it had proper force feedback, the first Ridge Racer or the second. The other titles on here do have some force feedback, so they feel a bit better. So just to mention that. Rest of the controls are fine. The little shifter here actually feels quite nice. It's got some nice springing resistance to it. Again, you can get upgrades for this. You know, replace that with a Ridge Racer logo and some other additions. Again, you've got the live feature. I think there's some online leaderboards. My biggest issue with this, and I knew this going in, so it's not really Arcade 1-Up's fault or the cabinet as such, is it's a stand-up version. So if you've ever played Ridge Racer, going into the corners, a lot of the time you have to tap the brake back onto the accelerator. It's a bit more awkward standing up. Traditionally in the arcade, I played the Ridge Racer games on a proper sit-down cabinet. I have thought before, you know, I think some people have done this, of just taking the riser off, cutting a hole in the panel and making it almost like a sit-down version. It would play a lot better. But I'm not the greatest at DIY, so I'm not going to butcher it. But it may be something I'll do in the future. Because if you cut a hole in the front, then you can move the pedals inside, make it a proper sit-down cabinet. It's just making it look nice though. Yeah, so it's just a bit more awkward when you're playing stood up, but that kind of goes for a lot of, you know, stand-up racing games like this. It's the downside. So all in all, would I have bought it having known these issues? Possibly not. It's a cool experience, but it could have been a lot better. I've got no problem with the emulation. It's just the combination between the sound being a bit iffy, you know, not the greatest accelerator and brake pedals in the world, and it would have been a lot better if they did a proper sit-down version of it. A good sit-down version. I don't mean a cheap, you know, just plonk a seat in front of it. But, you know, if you can get it modded to do that, sort the sound out, it's a nice experience, but probably too expensive for what I paid for it, really, for the amount of issues it's got. But again, it's another unique control scheme for the arcade. You've got the Star Wars, the Centipede cabinet, and you've got the racing wheel one here. And a lot of people do mod this to add other games in, so it would make a great base for that. You may want to replace the pedals with something a bit more substantial. So let's just do a little cut here and I'll move on to showing you what games are on the cabinet. So, games on the cabinet, we have Ridge Racer, obviously. I'm just turning the wheel and you just press the accelerator to select things. Ridge Racer 2. Not much difference between the two games. I think Ridge Racer 2 has a bit of an extended course. Ace Driver, this is where you start getting better actual force feedback on the wheel. Victory Lap, which is kind of like a sequel to Ace Driver, I think. And then we've got Rave Racer, which is the final one. So I think two games that don't have any force feedback, 3 that do. And we'll cover these on the channel one day, so you can have a look at all of them. But, you know, some nice variety here. So you're not just stuck with Ridge Racer alone, you get a few other games. I think, you know, the Ace Driver games like Formula 1 style games, and then the final game, Rave Racer, again, it's back to the Ridge Racer style, but a later version of it. So there we go, guys. There's a tour of my little arcade space. Quite modest compared to a lot of people's, but you know, I've only got this small little spare room. I've got a desk on here on the side where I do my computer stuff, which will be covering some cool retro and modern computer games as well on the PC. I want this to be a nice variety channel, but the whole reason to cover these games on the arcade one-up cabinets is because I want to share my love for them. I want to play them more, and they're a cool little experience. You could emulate these things, and people say, you know, emulate it, just emulate. Why would you get all this in your house? It's arcade one-up. Why don't you get the real thing? The real thing's too big, too bulky, too much maintenance and know-how you need to maintain them. All credit to the people that do get them, great. But for me, this just gives me enough of the experience of playing in the arcade, the stand-up experience, the form factor of using joysticks. I just love them, having them on as well. You know, when it's night time, turn them all on sometimes, just have all the games blaring out, the different lit up displays. It just looks cool. It just takes me back to the 80s and 90s, mainly the 90s, which was more my era. But there we go. So we'll continue to play through some of these games, do some regular challenges to try and 1cc some of them, which I'm capable of 1ccing, hopefully. Hopefully one day we'll get some more stuff on these walls, some art and things, just to brighten the place up a bit. Maybe a new nice little arcade themed carpet or something. So, thank you for watching the video, guys, and as always, I'll see you soon. Bye bye for now.